with Adidas proudly present a 111 Pictures production. We're bringing you a revolutionary training tool starring gold medal winner John Smit. These training tapes offer many unique features. On-screen navigation, split screen to show multiple angles, and summaries with bulleted points. To use these tapes effectively, grab a notepad, keep the controller close, and let's take it to the mat.
Hello, I'm John Smit, head wrestling coach at Oklahoma State University. Welcome to this video. It's how low you can go too. I know a lot of you coaches as well as wrestlers had a chance to watch the first video on how low you can go one. Since then, this low single leg has really evolved into a very dominating move at all levels of wrestling. It's evolved. You have to learn some of the new finishes, the new techniques that have been developed over the years, especially the scrambles that you get into now with the low single leg, and that's what we're going to cover a lot with this low single leg. For me, the low single leg meant a great deal to my career. It really helped elevate me to the top, helped me move into a very elite status. But more importantly, it really opened up a lot of areas and a lot of different techniques. So enjoy the video, get ready, let's take it to the mat. One thing about the low single leg that has not changed over the years is the actual penetration to the leg. When we talk about a low single leg, it's real important that you understand that you penetrate below the knee. So anytime we penetrate on a low single leg, we're really focusing on penetrating below the knee. Now, that's one of the most hardest things to do. That's something that we'll go through some drills in this as we learn through this technique video. Teach you some drills to learn how to take your hips low and to penetrate low. It's the most difficult thing in all of wrestling is penetrating on a low single leg. It's one of the steps that becomes very difficult when you find yourself penetrating, because a lot of times when you penetrate the low single leg, you get your head and chest away from your knees, and when that occurs, more than likely you end up flattened out on your belly, guys walking around you. So focus on penetrating below the knee. When we penetrate, we're going to concentrate on attacking the heel and at the same time keeping our head up. Okay, and as we progress through this shot, you're going to find that my body position at all times is the most important part of this shot. Position's everything. Finishing my shot, those types of things are important, but position's everything. On the shot, what we want to focus is to penetrate below the leg. So as my opponent breaks down in a stance, whether it be in a square stance or whether it be in a stagger stance, my focus is to penetrate straight to that leg. Okay, this is a single leg that we're not swinging out. We're not really working his upper body for a setup. This is a single leg shot that's penetrating straight to the leg. And that's what we're going to focus on. So as he's bent down here, as I penetrate, one of the things I want to focus on is attacking to the foot. Okay, I want to attack to the leg. So whether he's in a square stance, okay, or whether he's in a stagger stance, okay, ideally I'm going to have a particular leg that's my favorite leg. And for me, it's always my opponent's left leg. Not that you're not going to learn to penetrate to his right leg. We may learn that with a misdirection shot. But right now, I'm focusing on my dominant leg, the leg that I like to shoot to. So when I take this penetration shot, the one thing I'm going to focus on is changing levels. Now, what we're going to do as far as learning is we're going to learn the technique first, learn the finishes, and then we're going to come back and focus on the setups. And then you bring it all together. Okay? So on the shot, focusing on penetrating below the leg. So as I change levels here, okay, I'm going to change levels here. And when I penetrate, I'm going to penetrate straight to the leg. I have an attack hand, and I have what I call a post hand. Okay? I do not want to attack this low and try to attack it and lock my hands, because more than likely, if I'm this low and I'm locking my hands, I'm going to be in a position where my elbows are on the mat. Any movement back by him is going to end up flattening me to the mat. So I'm going to find myself in a lot of trouble. So I want to make sure that when I attack, I have an attack hand, a post hand. Here's my body position, penetration. When I penetrate, I don't want to take a big step. Okay? We want to try to be quick, explosive at this shot. And the key is, if you apply the right technique, the right fundamentals to this shot, you become quick. It's not a matter of whether you're quick or you're slow. It's a matter of doing the right things, and all of a sudden you become quick. And one of the problems with the low single leg is we have a lot of people trying to penetrate to the leg. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my knee to the mat and actually drive off my trail leg into this leg and then into the position I want to be in. So from this position, when I penetrate, I drop, change levels, and I penetrate straight to the leg. I don't take an extra step. Now, the focus here is that the theory behind a low single leg is I should be able to reach up and palm my opponent's head. Okay? This is the distance. This is not a shot where I'm going to be head-to-head. If I'm going to be head-to-head, I'm going to be fighting for position. I'm going to be hand fighting, trying to take controls, look for my high crotch, look for maybe a controlled single leg, look for duck under, whatever it may be. But the important thing is that we want to make sure that on the low single leg, that it's this distance here. Okay? If I'm in tight, I'm not looking for the low single leg. I'm looking for my high crotch, my setups, maybe snap downs, whatever it may be. So focus on this, that this is the distance that we take this shot from. Okay? Now from here, when I change levels, I'm going to penetrate straight to the leg. And as I penetrate, I want to focus on my reaching out with my post hand. Okay? As I reach out with my post hand, I'm penetrating straight to the leg. Okay? Now, there's two things that we want to focus on right here. One is I don't want to continue to drive. My post hand does two things for me. The first thing it does is it helps me with my balance down here. It helps me keep a stable position. Okay? And from this position, I make sure that when I'm in the position, elbows on the mat. If my elbow comes off the mat, that means my shoulder comes up. Anytime my shoulder comes above this knee, if he can bend his heel to his butt, he's going to sprawl right down on me. And I lose the leg. By keeping the elbow on the mat, the knee goes forward, runs into my shoulder, I never feel his hip pressure. And this is the key to this shot, is making sure that elbow stays on the mat, that we're just cupping the back of the heel. Okay? Another thing that my post hand will do for me, it will allow me not to continue to penetrate. Okay? And this is what I'm talking about. And this is very important to the low single leg. When we penetrate, we want to stop, then finish. We don't want our momentum to continue to go through our opponent. Because what happens when our momentum continues to go through our opponent, when we're on our knees, our head and chest gets above our hips. And all of a sudden, he's in position to scramble and win the battle. So it's real important that we don't do this when we take this initial shot. I penetrate here, and I keep moving forward here. Now look where my knee compared to my head and chest are. Now any type of movement from him, whether he sprawls, okay, he drops his weight on me here, it's easy to get extended and lose position. Okay? So it's real important that remember our post hand's doing two things. First, it's helping us keep our balance. Second, it's stopping our momentum going in. Now, I don't try to shoot slowly to stop. I shoot as hard as I can at my opponent's leg, and I stop it with my post hand. And this is what it looks like in competition. Right here. Okay, quick, explosive, stop. Now, ideally, this is the position I want to be in. Elbow on the mat, hand cupping, post hand out. Do not put it underneath you with a bent elbow. Straight elbow. Okay, lay it outside your body. Okay, from here, the inside of my head is right on the inside of his knee. Okay, now notice the distance from my shoulder to his shin. We want this distance here. Okay, I want to be able to finish quickly with this shot and not drive my shoulder into his shin, because once I start driving my shoulder into his shin, what happens is my body gets extended again. Okay, and all of a sudden I lose my power. Okay, for learning purposes, you're going to find that one of the things that I find that helps me teach people is I just put them in the right position. So when I put someone in the right position, I'm going to have them break down, drop on their knee, okay, elbow on the mat, head up, post hand out, okay, and teach them that's the position you want to be in. Now, one other thing that I'm going to add to this, it's going to help you a lot to learn how to keep your hips underneath you here, is to make sure that you're sitting on your ankle. So when I take this shot, I'm going to go ahead and turn here. I'm going to take this shot. I want you to look at my feet and how I rotate my ankle underneath. So as I penetrate here, in this position here, as I penetrate, I rotate my ankle underneath. Okay? And notice how my shoelaces are on the mat here. Okay? Instead of using my toe and lifting my butt up in the air and scooting my head and chest forward here, I go ahead and lay that foot on the mat, turn it in, lay it on the mat, and set down into that seat there. And that way I keep my back end down, my head and chest up here in this position. Okay? What's real effective about the low single leg, and you got to remember, is that even though you penetrate and you're focusing on attacking the leg, if you miss the leg, The key when you miss the leg, the guy sprawls on you, that you're still in good position to recover. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be that good of a shot if we found ourselves missing the leg and being in bad position. So we'll cover some technique when we do miss the shot. What do we go to, okay, to continue to score? One of the most effective moves there are is when you do miss the shot. Guys that have developed a low single leg and have had a lot of success with it find that it's okay to miss the shot. They've got something to go to immediately to score with. One of the difference between how low you can go to and how low you can go one is that we're going to cover some drills and how low you can go to. And in this tape, we're going to cover 4 drills. 4 drills that are going to help you learn how to penetrate, help you learn how to shoot, and more importantly, help you learn how to deal with your footwork. Footwork in this is extremely important. Any little mistake can cost you the shot. You know, that's the case for any shot, but particularly this one because we're shooting so low. The first drill we're going to do is what I call a pulling shot. And all I'm going to focus on is shooting down the mat in my wrestling room at home or in your wrestling room at school, whatever. You're going to really focus on penetrating all the way down the mat in the same shot. We're going to go square stance, stagger stance, penetrate. And this is the shot. From this position here, I'm going to go square stance, stagger, and I'm going to penetrate. And my pull is when I reach out. I'm going to reach out and pull my hips underneath. So this really helps me learn how to penetrate with my hips underneath me when I'm penetrating. So right here, slide. So you notice that I slid a lot on this shot, okay? And when you're shooting this low single leg, you do slide a little bit on your knee. Now, I always wore a knee pad. Of course, it was Brute, because Brute is one of my sponsors. So it's real important that you learn how to slide on that knee. And it's probably a good idea that you wear some type of knee pad in competition, in practice, to learn how to use that sliding to your advantage. It's not only good with the low single leg, but it's good on any shot. It's nice to be able to move off that knee, off a high crotch, a high single, whatever the case may be. So again, here's the technique and here is the drill that we're going to do. Square stance, stagger. Square, stagger, penetrate. Square, stagger, penetrate. Notice that each time my head's up and I'm really taking my head and chest over the top of my knee. Because if you think of a low single leg, when I've covered that basic technique, it's right here. Okay? It's basically the same shot, except I'm right here. I'm learning how to pull my hips underneath. And I'm coming all the way up to my feet. We can do it all the way down the mat. Here. Right here. You can do it over, over, and over, and over again. Okay? The second drill that we're going to discuss is shooting between the knees. Okay? Or between the legs of our opponent. So from here, all I'm going to do is put him right here, and I'm going to have him stand tall. Okay? And all I'm going to do is have him spread his feet apart here. Now, from this position, I'm going to really focus on penetrating below his legs. Now, as you get better, you're going to do it without your hands. But the first time, I'm going to do it with my hands. So from here, I'm going to penetrate between his legs. So as he stands here, square stance, stagger, pull. Okay? Notice that my movement was continuous motion underneath. I didn't get caught up. It looked smooth. And that's what you want to make sure that happens with the low single leg, is that it's a smooth shot. Okay? You don't want any clumsiness. You don't want to fall over the top of your knees, or you're making sure that your head and chest stays back into your squatting position here. So once again, opponent's here. I'm going to shoot between his legs here. So as he sets, stagger, penetrate. Here. Notice my head's up. Notice that my head and chest is over the top of my legs. Now he can turn here. I just do it back. Right here. Okay? Now one of the drills, if you're working as partners, one of the drills that you can do is once I do it, I turn around, he comes back through my legs. So here's the drill if both of you are working it. He spread here, stagger, penetrate. I step up and I turn. He turns around, he takes his shot. Step, penetrate. You can go all the way down the mat. I've had guys line up for me all the way down the mat, and I've done 15, 20 in a row. Turn around, they turn around for me, I come back and do 15, 20 in a row. All I'm wanting to teach myself is to really penetrate at a low level. Keeping my position at a low level. That is the most difficult thing to learn. You need this drill. The third drill is penetrating to the leg, developing your speed. And the fourth drill is also penetrating to the leg, but working on your misdirection shot, which I know you haven't learned, but you will learn today. So both of these, 3 and 4, is basically penetration to the leg, okay? And we're working on our speed and our quickness to this shot. So from right here, all I'm focusing on is hitting that leg, coming off of it. Hitting that leg, coming off of it. Really working on my speed. Working on where I want to end up when I get to the leg. Right here. Wrestling stance here. All I'm doing is this. And each time I end up in the right position. I really want to focus on making sure that when I penetrate through that leg, I end up in the right position. And that's elbow on the mat. Hand cupping the heel. Knee underneath my chest. Sitting on my shoelaces. Making sure my butt, my hips are down. My head and chest up. Hand on the inside of that knee. Post hand out. So that's my focus on this drill. I'm going to do this 25, 35 times to one leg, and then my misdirection, I may do 25 to 35 times on my misdirection as just a drill. Okay? And again, this is what the low single leg, this is how you get better at penetrating to this leg. So again, once again on this shot, just focusing on hitting the knee, focusing on making sure I stay, and when I hit, in the right position. Square stance, stay. Okay, now my misdirection, which I know you haven't learned, but we're going to learn it. This is what we're doing on this drill. Working on our misdirection, working on our shot. Okay, come up, square stance. Okay, and you'll learn that in a little while. It's just throwing some misdirection in there. Those are 4 good drills that's going to help you to develop this low single leg. Okay. Working this low single leg, we're going to focus on our finishes. And remember, I'm going to come back and show you the setups. Learning technique for the first time. It's always good to learn the actual shot, the penetration, the finishes, and then come back and learn the setups. Because then you understand what you're doing. You understand why you're setting them up that way to get to the leg. So at the end of this, towards the end of this tape, you're going to learn setups to the shot. Again, one of the most basic and one of the most successful shots off this low single leg and the finish is dumping our opponent to the mat. And we're going to cover both the single leg finish for collegiate and both the single leg finish for freestyle. So my opponent's position, square or staggered, is going to make it. He's in a staggered stance right now, leading his left leg. So when I penetrate here, when I take my shot here in this position, okay, I want to make sure that I concentrate on cupping that heel, again, elbow on the mat. That elbow never leaves the mat. Okay, do not start raising that elbow up. From here, our trail leg, which is a leg that we left behind our body, that's why we call it a trail leg. We're going to step up. And as I step up, I'm going to step up to the side. Okay, I don't want to bring it right underneath me. I want to step it out and away from my body. Now from right here, all I'm going to do is buckle. I'm going to use my head to buckle this knee. Okay, and as I buckle this knee here, okay, I'm going to bring my hand, I'm going to either hit him at this knee or I'm going to hit him above the waist. So you've got a choice. Okay, always, 10 years ago, we always taught to go up here. Now we're finding it real successful to catch this knee right here. So from here, as I buckle, I don't try to pick this foot up. I use my head and my trail leg to drive across and buckle his knee. His foot's trapped. He's nowhere for him to go right here. Right here in this position. Now, once I hit here, and he's collapsed here, okay, whatever I'm focusing on, what style I'm involved in right now is what I'm going to decide to do next, okay? So from here, as I fall, if I'm thinking freestyle, I'm going to scoop this leg up right here. I'm going to place the hand that I've attacked the foot with over the top of his calf, right here. Okay, so as I hit, he flattens out. If he's in freestyle, I'm going to hit, score my 1 for takedown, and I'm going to roll and take him again for a point. Okay, I find it very dominating. You're going to find yourself in that position a lot if you wrestle freestyle, shooting off the low single leg. So once again, full action here, penetrating to the leg. He flattens out, catch it, grab it, and all we're doing is rolling through it. okay, for a 1-point takedown and a 1-point exposure. Now, collegiately, what I'm thinking off this dump is to try to split his legs. So I'm going from this low single leg shot and trying to move right into a pinning position. Okay? And what I like to use from here is a Turk. So as I penetrate and I hit here and I'm dumping, catching that knee, driving off that foot. Once I catch right here, I'm going to drop my left hip to the mat right here. Okay? He's going to start to belly out, and all I do is I end up in a Turk. See, I brought this leg underneath, and I've ended up in a Turk right here. Now, from here, we're going to focus on cross-facing, taking the sole of my shoe to the ceiling. And this is where we elevate him over for its exposure. Okay? So, you're going to find that we're going from a takedown into a pinning combination. We're looking for 5 points, possibly the pin. And keep in mind, when you're drilling this and you're working on your low single leg, you work those pinning positions because the pin is the ultimate in wrestling. We want those falls. And if you get a chance to get a fall, you get the fall. If you get a chance to expose your guy off of a takedown, expose him. We forget to drill those. All we want to work on sometimes is the actual shot, and we forget about following it through with pinning position. Now, ideally, that's the most basic of all low single leg shots, one of the most basic finish there is, but probably one of the most successful finish there is. Now we're going to get into some situations where you're going to find that this guy's going to do certain things to me. Okay, and the first one we're going to cover is when he falls over the top of us. Okay, so I'm going to face his back to the camera here, so you'll see my position as I come up and out. Okay, so on our shot here, a lot of times when we penetrate, he reacts. One of the things about low single leg is that keep in mind that this guy's learned to sprawl. Every time you shoot, he sprawls. So sometimes they fall over the top of us. And it's real important what we do from that position. So as I penetrate right here to the leg, he falls over the top. From here, I brought my trail leg back underneath me. Notice my knee position. I'm posting that hand. And all I do is come straight up. My butt comes up off my heels, and I explode straight up into the air in this position. From here, I'm going to step up with my outside leg and make a half turn right here. Okay? Making a half turn. From here, I'm reaching, hooking the far hip. Okay? Release the leg, and score my 2 takedown. Okay? From this angle here, again, I'm penetrating to the leg. He falls over the top of me. Here. I explode straight up with my post hand on the mat. Notice my knees are underneath me. I got all my power underneath me. From here, I explode straight up. Okay? Make a half step. Okay? Reach. Hook. Finish for a 2 takedown. You're going to find that with the low single leg, you're going to find a lot of times the man does come over the top of you. And you can't dump. You've got to be real quick on the first particular finish that we did when we hit and dumped him off to the side. You've got to be quick. Eventually you can build to that. But you're going to find a lot of times in this position here. Now, from the same position as the last one, when your opponent falls over after you penetrate, we're going to have him grab some ankles. Now, this is where you got to be really good. This is the situations that you get in matches and you don't finish. Either you end up in stalemate sometimes, or he ends up scrambling and beating you in a scramble. Okay? And one thing we want to learn, if we're going to shoot low single legs, you got to learn to finish in scramble positions, because you're going to find yourself in them. Wrestling's evolved. A lot of people are jumping under the legs or doing certain activities now to try to defend this, and there's a lot of success out there with this. But we can beat it. Just pay attention. Make sure you learn these. Now, when I take this shot, we're going to make sure that as he falls over the top and grabs my ankle, I'm going to plant my toe. So as I go in and he falls over the top, boom, he sprawls over the top. He starts grabbing my ankle here. Okay? As I come up, okay, I'm going to do the same technique. I'm not going to be able to pull my knee underneath me as much, but I'm still going to come up, and I'm going to plant that toe right in the mat. Okay? Now from here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my reaching here, but I'm going to have to pick my knee up and point my toe right to the ceiling, right here. Okay? Notice my knee comes up. Now he may still be on my leg here, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to run him forward. I'm going to jam him right into the mat right here to score my point. We find this to be very effective when guys are dropping on their ankles here. Okay, again. So I'm penetrating to the leg. Once I penetrate to the leg, he falls over the top of me, grabs my ankle. Right here, grabs my ankle right here. From here, I'm still coming straight up. I'm coming up, and as I step, at the same time, I'm going to turn my knee to the ceiling. Right here. Okay? Once I get to this position, I just drive him forward. Now, he may be around my leg, wrap around my leg right here, which is fine. All I do is drive, drive, drive. If you got a chance, look for the cradle if he stays with it. Okay? Just driving him right to the mat. Okay? So, when we hit it, he grabs the ankle. Here, step up, point the knee. Now drive him. Okay? So we're just pilling him. By driving him, we're just pilling him off that leg. Okay? Now, same type of situation. Okay? He might grab two ankles. Okay? And if he grabs two ankles, this is all new technique that you probably haven't seen. These are things that we want to try to avoid scrambling positions. So we're going to choose, instead of to come up, we're going to choose to stay down in our stance when he falls over the top and he starts grabbing ankles. Okay? So here's my choice if you want to try to avoid scrambles. If you got somebody that you're wrestling that you know is real good in the position, we're not even going to give him a chance to use his stuff. So from here, he falls over the top, he starts to grab ankles, one or two. Okay? The only way scrambles become effective for my opponent is if I come up. Now all of a sudden, this is where he likes to be. So I'm going to stay down here. And from here, all I'm going to do, okay, is reach over this leg. If the leg's up high, okay, in this position, blocking me off, I got to bring my hand up and around. Okay? Now from right here, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to fall to this side with my hip. And as I fall, I'm going to release the heel right here. Okay? Now, if he's still on my ankles, keep in mind, our legs are stronger than our opponent's arms. All I do is drive right through it. Here. Now, I sit back, and I do what I call a hip heist. I'm bringing this leg under this leg, raising my butt up, trapping the leg. Okay? And what happens in this position is that he can't get his hips back underneath him. If he tries to get this leg back, okay, I got it blocked here. I post on the far side right here, and I hip heist underneath. Okay? Now I keep pressure into him because I'm looking to take him to his back from this position. I hip heist here, and I drive into him. If I have to go with an under, I'll go with an under. If I got a chance to half Nelson, I'm going to half Nelson. But drive, body, right here. So we're taking him again. We're using this shot to take him from a 2-point takedown into a 3-point near fall. Okay? And possibly our pin. So once again, okay, I'm in this position here. I take my shot right here. He falls over the top. Now, if I come up, I got to learn how to scramble. Instead, I'm reaching. I'm blocking, catching this heel. Now, as I drop him back, I'm scooping this foot up. Okay? Right here. Remember, our legs are stronger than his arms, so all I do is straighten them out, kick them out. Plant on the far side. Hips up. Hip heist under. Pressure into him. Don't let him get back to his belly. We're looking to pin him. Catch him with the half. Right here, if we get it. Okay, sink it in, chest to chest, tee out. Look for our pin. If he's fighting down, if the arm goes to the mat, come right underneath the face, hook it, look for our exposure, try to get our pin. So we've taken a position knowing that my opponent here is good in scrambles and not even give him a chance to use them. Okay, now, same type of positions, but we're thinking freestyle. When we penetrate, the guy falls over the top, he starts to grab my ankles. This is an old move that's been real successful. A lot of people's had a lot of success. I'm thinking about a 3-point move. Okay, I don't have to think about getting control on the takedown. I need to think about exposing his shoulders for points. Okay, I don't have to have control in the freestyle off a takedown. All I got to focus on is exposing his shoulders for points. So as I penetrate here, I take the shot, he falls over the top, and he's grabbing ankles here in this position. Okay, so when I start to come up, if I choose to come up here, I'm looking to take him straight back. Okay? So as I come up here, if he stays with my ankles, I just run him straight back over the top of his head here. Okay? Boom. And with that exposure there, I'm going to score 3. Okay? I'm not looking to really control anything. Okay? Now, same type of situation, but guys start wrapping around our waist. Now, this is a move that you're going to find that you have a lot of success with, guys that wrap around their waist. Okay? And a lot of times what they're looking for is they're looking to pinch an elbow to your body. And that's why we don't want to come up with it. And it's one of the big defensive moves that people are stopping on this shot. And here's what it looks like in competition. I shoot, the guy drops over the top, and as I come up, they wrap around this elbow. Okay? They wrap around this elbow right here, that elbow or the other elbow right here. And they pinch this down. And we find that we're having a tough time finishing. So if I know my opponent's working that a lot, I'm going to focus on when he wraps around my waist, just hitting a little side row here. So as I penetrate and he wraps around my waist right here, all I'm going to do is catch this elbow right here. I'm going to bring my knees together, and I'm going to hit him with the side row. Okay? He has no post to use on that side. Release the heel, and we're going to end up out in front of him here. Okay? This position. So again, I penetrate, he wraps around my waist right here. I catch the elbow, bring my knees together, and I hit a side row right here. Okay? Expose him. Freestyle, we just looked at 2 or 3 near fall. Okay? Because if he didn't hit his knees, I took him from his feet to his back. Collegiate, we haven't scored yet. I post on both sides. What happened, he starts to react one way or the other. Okay? If he tries to roll through here, I hip heist. I make sure I always turn towards his head. Hip heist towards his head right here. And trapping him right here to his back. Okay? If he comes into him, he tries to roll into him, I hip heist right here. Okay? Looking to try to get under. If I can't get under the arm, I just cross face him here, expose his back. Okay? Very effective move off that low single leg. Again, we're taking him from his feet, from a 2-point takedown, taking him right to his back. Okay? The thing that, once again, I want to re-emphasize is try to avoid getting your arms trapped. That is one position that you're going to struggle with. I'm going to show you something to do that works for some people. Okay? But this is the position that you can get in a lot of danger with. Is when you start to come up, as I hit, and he traps around my elbow. Right here. And I bring him up right here. If you find yourself here, always fall away from the side that he's trapping the elbow. Okay, don't fall that way. I'm going to fall this way. And as I fall and I dump him this way, what I'm going to try to do is I'm still in good positions. I'm thinking collision here. Obviously freestyle I'd scored here, but he may have scored here too. But if I'm thinking collision, once I dump away from the side that he's trapped my elbow, I try to pull that elbow out. Really jam it out. From here, plant. And we start hip heisting back towards his head. Right here. Okay? To try to trap him to his back. Okay? Again, working off this shot in the same type of situation, working with him falling over the top. Now, he gets into our crotch. He starts locking into our crotch. From this position, I'm going to concentrate on one thing. Figuring out where his body position is on my head. And that's going to debate what I do. So as I shoot here, okay, he reaches in my crotch right here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come up. And as I come up, I'm going to sit back into him. Right here. See, I set him on his hip. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to start hip heisting back towards the head. Okay. Now, the game's not over now. Okay. He's still very much going to scramble out of this. This is where they start to try to roll. If they take that leg and try to take it all the way over, what we're going to do is a 360. I'm going to do a full 360. It's real important. I make a full 360. Hit hand to hand, right back into him. Cross face him, peel him off that leg. Score points. From this position, I'm going to concentrate on, after I take this shot, I'm going to concentrate on where is he at it when he's in my crotch. So from here, I penetrate, he locks in. I set him straight back right here. Set him back. Now, once I get here, I want to make sure I slide my hips low. And I start to turn my hips to where he slides down on my knee. And now, as I start to go back into him here, in this position, I turn and I plant the hand. If he takes me all the way over, right here, I do a 360. Okay? If we don't do the 360 from this position, as he takes the leg over, this is where we lose our scramble here. As I come back and I come out, if he takes that leg over and I don't do the 360, he comes right straight up and comes out. So I got to go with it. Okay? It's important I go with it. So again, I hit here, he locks my crotch. I take him back, I start to come over into him. He takes it over, 360. He ends up on the leg, and I may not have scored my points. Okay? But from here to score my points, I just cross-face him off of it. Extend that leg out, 2 takedown. Okay, same type of position when the guy's shooting into our, we take the shot, the guy's reaching and locking in our crotch. Okay? If I'm wrestling freestyle, I may avoid any type of going back to my hands, worried about the official going 2 and 2. Okay? So what I'm going to do here, from this position, I'm going to do a 360 on my butt. I'm going to set my hips through, raise the ankle up, and I'm going to sit through. So from here, as I penetrate, okay, and it gets to my crotch, we get in here a lot, especially in freestyle. This is where it can be real dangerous. Okay? Real important, once we get to this position, we know what we're doing. Okay? So from right here, all I'm going to do is sit on my far hip, right here. I'm going to close that off from him lifting me up and over and trying to elevate me through for 2. And from here, I'm just going to come up. I'm going to sit up. Now, he may still be in my crotch here, and he may be even ducking his head under if he's wrestling collegiate. And all I'm going to do is sit up, and I'm going to keep rotating towards this ankle. Now, from here, all I'm going to do is push this foot down below my shoulder. Okay? Right here. Raise up. Come up. If he's still locked in my crotch here, I just jam him. And if he's still locked, I'm going to go right into my cradle. Okay? Or I just jam him off. Okay? I find this to be real effective to guys that like to get in the crotch. Again. Okay? I penetrate. Okay? I penetrate. He locks in my crotch here. And now, from here, instead of me coming up, I'm going to sit to this hip. Okay? Rotate. Rotate. See, I keep pushing. Rotate. Once I get here, I'm going to push this leg over the shoulder, come out. If he's still in my crotch, he's jammed up underneath. Okay? I'm just going to extend out. If he's still locked, straighten that leg, cradle him up, take him right to his back. Okay? I'll do it one time for you. In the position here, hit, he locks, rotate, rotate, push. What I did now, I just hip heist out. Okay? So what we're doing to our opponent is we're compacting him up. We're just smushing him right there into a ball. We're just turning him into a ball there. He gets his head trapped under, and all we're doing is pushing his legs to his head. Okay? Taking anything he can be effective with. Now, this is a position that you got to make sure you concentrate on. You got to be quick and explosive in, because here's what happens a lot of times. Guys that are wrestling freestyle, is they get extended out, and they'll stop before they finish. And a lot of times they'll end up over the top. Guy shoots on the single leg here. Okay, in this position, guy reaches here. He starts to get in the cross, and he's wanting to lift you. He's wanting to lift you, take you over the top here. Okay, for a 2-point exposure. Same way collegiate. That's what they're trying to do. So that's what he's doing to me, and this is how I'm defending him. Okay, as I penetrate, he starts to lift right here. I set. See where I set? I set to my butt. If I break his lock right there immediately, okay, all I do is come out, replace this hand, and I just come straight on up. Okay, so again, I penetrate, he sets right here. Okay, he starts to try to lift me right here in this position. Set to this hip. Set. See what I just did? Now from here, push it down, over the shoulder, crowd him, straighten those legs out. Look for our cradle there. Very effective. You get in there, you're going to feel it. Each time you end up in a little bit of different position, but the theory's the same of what we're doing when we get there and he gets in our crotch. Okay? Now, one of the things that will happen here is they'll try to roll us through here. So when they get in the crotch here, from this position right here, they'll try to roll over the top and take us this way. Okay? Very effective defensive move. So when it happens, you feel yourself roll. Always remember, in any situation when you feel yourself rolling, you're releasing the leg. you're planting the hands. Why? Because the key to scrambling in this situation, in all of wrestling, not just this situation, is to make sure your head stays higher than his. As soon as your head goes to the mat, his head comes up, he's going to score the points. So on any type of scrambling, the focus is keeping your head higher than his. So it's real important that when I feel myself rolling, that I let go of the leg, because if I stay on the leg, I'm going to end up with my head on the mat. Okay? I release the leg on all rolls, start planting my hands, keeping my head up, hip heisting towards the head. So here's the position. Again, we hit a high crotch. He catches in the crotch. Here, he starts to roll me through right here. Let go. Plant, 360, score our points. Again, here's what happened. Here's the situation that you find guys when they shoot the low single leg, what happens to them sometimes is they stay with the leg and the guy comes through our legs. And here's the situation. Okay, I penetrate, he locks, he rolls me through. I stay with the leg right here, and he comes right up in between my legs, comes right out. We end up trying to scramble to our base. I've seen this over and over and over again. What do we do when you're getting rolled through? You let go of that leg, keep your head higher than his. Now, you see a bunch of different positions. You see some things that off this low single leg that you might want to focus with. Collegiately, you might want to focus with freestyle. You got to remember in freestyle, this guy's going to be a little bit nervous about scrambling with you because he's going to be exposed. So freestyle with this low single leg sometimes could be a lot more effective because you eliminate the chances he might take trying to do all these rolls because it's easy points for you. So a lot of those basic fundamentals, those basic finishes that we've worked on for collegiate, dump, coming out in between, coming over the top, those may be very effective for you in freestyle because he's going to be a little bit nervous about rolling. But collegiately, he's different. These guys are going to roll, they're going to stay with the legs, and we need to know these finishes. But once you learn one of them and you get in your mind that you're going to turn a certain way, most of the time it's all the same. It may be a little bit different technique, but you're going to do the same things. Now we're going to focus on some front headlock positions. We shoot, the guy drops on our head. Freestyle situation is collegiate situation. Either way, you can focus on the same type of finishes. Now, we penetrate and the guy drops on our head and tries to front headlock us. What we want to try to do is we want to make sure that we try to avoid him bringing his knees underneath and making it a tighter position. So when I penetrate here, on my low single leg, he drops and he front headlocks me right here. And sometimes this leg will kick back, and maybe it'll stay in. But on the front headlock, sometimes they want it in here tight in this position. Okay. So what we want to focus on when I get there, all I'm going to do is post that knee. I'm going to post that far knee, and I'm going to pop my head out to the opposite side and almost go from a low single leg to a double leg. Okay, real important position. Okay, especially if you're a freestyler. And collegiately, some guys don't like to go over the top or don't want to scramble, so they want to try to pinch you off with a front headlock. And when they do that, the only thing you need to focus on is keeping a wide base, okay, and making sure that we post that knee to push it back, to clear our head, and score our points. Okay? So once I get in here, he drops on a front headlock. Okay? Brings this knee in tight. I'm going to post it, and I'm going to back away and take my head to the far side. From here, all I'm going to do is reach across. I like to trap the ankle with both hands here and just drive right through him. Right here. So again, here's the situation. He hits a low single leg right here. A lot of times what happens, they'll drop right down onto you right here, and they're going to try to either turn you here or this position, or they're going to try to expose you this way or that way. So what we're going to do from that position is we're going to post the knee. So as I hit here, rock right here. I'm going to post this knee right here, pop my head out. Okay, now from here I bring my trail leg up and I drive across. Notice my trail leg. Drive across. Now from here, once I lock onto this foot, I can either drive him from here or pull this hand back out and around the waist here and just drive through him. Now a whole different series from when a guy turns his knee out. Okay, and this is something that a lot of guys with the flexibility will use is when they penetrate, they'll turn their knee out. And you have to be very effective from this position because this is a position that's getting popular that a lot of people are using. And there's a lot of wrestlers out there that have a great deal of flexibility in their knees, including myself at one time, not anymore. Okay, so it's real important we know what to do in this position and try to control his knee, control from that knee up, especially his hip position. So as I penetrate on my low single, he turns the knee out right here. Okay, and those are the series we're going to work right now. So again, I penetrate here, he turns the knee down. Okay, now what they're looking to do from here is either hip lock, and they lock to their ankle right here in this position. Okay, and what they want to try to do is bump you forward here. A lot of hip pressure here. Okay, trying to take your head forward here. Okay, so from this position, what I'm going to focus on doing is I'm going to focus on sitting back into it. See how I sit back? If it's a very tight position, I'm going to focus on sitting back into it. And if he keeps bumping me forward here, I'm just going to start to pull this ankle out. See, I got my hip over it. Now from here, I can do one or two things. I can hook it here, or I can take it over the top. If I hook it here, what I'm going to do is start to build up. Build up. Okay? Breaking through that lock. Right here. Now, from here, I can limp arm out in this position here. Okay? Or break through, drive my shoulder through, come over the top of the knee, and score my points. Okay? So again, I penetrate, he locks here. Okay? From right here, I post my head if I need to post it. I'm stepping. Okay, I'm hooking this foot. Now I suck my hip under right here. Now from here, I go under the foot. Hook it right here. Now I start to build up right here. Now I got one or two things. I can limp arm out, cross over, or from here I just drive my shoulder below, go above the knee, attack the far knee, score my points. A guy posts on my head. I hit, he turns his knee out, and he posts on my head. This is some of the old technique that was also on the old video. Try to show you some new things from here, but on this one, I really like this a lot, is when I penetrate, he posts on my head here. All I'm going to do is reach up, grab his hand. Pretty simple technique. I'm going to pull it off, and as I pull it off, I'm going to drop my butt to my heels. Score my points. Okay? Looks too easy, doesn't it? Well, it is. Okay? You see this situation a lot. Guys penetrate, and we're posting. We're trying to come up, and the guy's really putting a lot of weight into me here, posting my head down. Anytime, reach up, grab, post the hand, drop your butt back to your heels, come up, score your points. Okay, now we posted the head, and we know that we come up with the hand, grab the hand, plant it to the mat, take our hips back to our heels, pop up, score our points. Now, when they try to spin, we hit, and a lot of times they'll try to spin. Now, this is an important position because there's a few people out there that are really good at it and real effective at it. So what we want to focus on when they spin is we got to do the same thing that we did when they post the head. But the only difference is we got to change off. We got to get that free hand to the top of the shoelaces, change off, and come right up around his waist. So from here, what happens is they put pressure on us. They sit on us to spin. So when you feel the spin, as I penetrate right here, I hit and I drop. And as you feel this spin right here, I change off. Now from here, the only way I can keep him from going to the backside is I drop my heels, drop my body back. As I drop it back, I reach up right here. Okay, I catch him. So what I'm doing is he's using my body to sit on to spin. If I take my body away from him, his butt goes to the mat. Okay? So again, I penetrate right here. Okay? In this position, I feel the spin, I release. I change off with the free hand right here. Now as he keeps spinning here, all I do is drop back. Catch him, score my points. Okay? Once again, do it full go here. Okay? Quick and hard. So it's real important when I'm right here, okay, around the leg, and I feel him spinning, that I do this. I free hand here, drop back, come around his waist, score my points. Now, he wraps around my waist as I penetrate. I penetrate here, he turns the knee out, and he wraps around my waist. Okay? Puts the knee to the mat here. From right here, I'm catching the wrist, sitting through, taking my head and chest, throwing it right back into him. Right here. Right here. From here, if I don't feel real secure, I just release everything and go to his legs. Okay? From the same position here. I penetrate and he turns his knee in. Okay, right here. He hits the mat. He reaches around my waist right here. I sit through. Throwing my head and chest back. Boom. If I can lock it, catch it, I will. Sometimes officials get a little nervous because it's not a typical Peterson type move. Okay, it's a little different because we're wrapped around the leg the reverse way. So from here, if you feel like you're losing this leg or you start to straighten this leg out, you feel like you're losing it, you just throw your head and chest back up, back, raise your hips up, and get back to the legs. Okay, in that position. So those are all techniques from when the guy turns his knee in. And those are good for the swing single. Those are good for any outside single that you're penetrating. All those are good techniques. It doesn't have to be necessarily from the low single leg. Some of my funnest shots off the low single leg is misdirection. Have been very effective. A lot of wrestlers have been very effective with the misdirection. Really faking one side and striking the other. Getting your opponent to think you're going to one leg, him pulling that back and you're hitting the other. Very effective. A lot of it's timing, a lot of it's coordination. So it's something that you have to drill a lot. And earlier in the video, you learned some of the drills, and one of those drills was just practicing misdirection. Fake one, hit up, hit the other side. There's two different misdirections I'm going to show you. One's stepping to the leg and falling into the single leg. The other one's dropping to a knee and changing across to the low single leg. So with both misdirections, though, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to get a reaction out of our opponent. And this is part of the setup, is getting that reaction out of him. So on the first one, I notice that he's leading his right leg or his left leg, but I really want to focus on penetrating to his right leg. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to fake. I'm going to change levels, same type of stance. I'm going to change levels and fake. And when that leg goes back, okay, I'm falling into this other leg, okay, in this position. Now from here, most of the time on a misdirection shot, especially when you're going to the opposite leg that you like to attack, for me, I like to attack his left leg, but my misdirection shot is going to his right leg. Probably 90% of the time, you're always going to finish up and out the back because both knees are on the mat. So as soon as you fall into your misdirection, you're coming straight up and finishing your shot. And if you need to go to any other finishes, then you can go to them. So again, I'm faking one side, faking here, penetrating here. Okay? He falls over the top or he reacts to it. I come straight up, step, and I'm out. Here's what it looks like, real speed here. Here, here, here. Up, step, out. So I like to put maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 fakes into it. Really making him think, I'm going to that leg, I'm going to that leg. Boom, boom. Okay? And remember, I'm not pulling back out of my fake. I fake, 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 penetrate. Just getting him stepping, getting him jumping, getting him jumping. Okay? Making him feel very uncomfortable. So again, here, fake, fake. Okay? And then when I decide to shoot, I fake and I don't pull back out and I penetrate. Okay? In this position. Now I can set to my hip here. I can do anything, any of our finishes. Up and out. Okay? Or whatever I need to do to score my points. Okay, so that's one misdirection. The other misdirection, this is a new one. One of my wrestlers at Oklahoma State really started working this, has been very, very effective with it, and now it's one that I feel very comfortable in teaching. So this is one that I've actually learned and have the fortune to see one of my athletes work it and kind of develop it. This is a misdirection on the knee. So as he breaks down here, this is one that you need to be quick and you need to be coordinated to do. But it's very effective because you're really putting a lot into the fake. So from here, I'm penetrating to the knee, right here. Here, but I'm missing the leg on purpose and bringing this leg up. Okay? Now from here, a lot of times that leg's so far back, it's easy to just dump and score. And remember, in this position, if I'm in freestyle, I could be going for the leg lace or in collegiate. I'm going to set this hip to the mat, okay, and go right into my turf. So this is a misdirection. We're going to our knee. The first one I covered, we're stepping and going across. This one, we're actually dropping to the knee, penetrating to the knee, and changing across. Okay, so it's here. Notice how I bring my other knee up. It's here. Penetration. Here. Here. So I'm really stepping up with this leg. Almost like you're crawling on your knees a little bit. Okay? So again, here. 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 Dump. Come up. If he falls over the top here, put him up. Score points. Okay, one time for you, quick. Right here. Leg lace, if I'm thinking freestyle. Okay? Once again, bring down. Scoring up points. Okay, so those are two great misdirections that have been very effective. I mean, keep in mind what I said from the beginning of the tape about our position. The nice thing about this is that when you shoot a low single leg, if you stay in good position, it's a very effective tool if you miss the leg. One of the most important parts of this low single leg is sometimes when you do miss the leg, you're wrestling very quick guys that can get their feet up quickly. Sometimes you're going to miss that leg. I can remember my brother, Pat Smith, the first four-time NCAA champion. His true freshman year, Pat won an NCAA title with a low single leg. Guy sprawled and he peeked out to the opposite side. So this is a very effective move. Keep in mind that if you stay in position on the low single leg and you miss the leg, you're still in great position to score. Peek out. Once we penetrate, the guy's quick. He picks his feet up. We miss the shot. We're going to peek out to the opposite side. So from this position here, okay, as I penetrate, okay, in this position, and I penetrate to the leg, and he moves it back and he sprawls on top of me, okay, right here. All I'm going to do is bring my trail leg up to the opposite side, and I'm going to rotate my head out, right here. Peeking out, and as I do it, I'm reaching towards a high crotch, okay? Changing off, driving across, scoring my points, okay? So again, we penetrate, he sprawls. As I penetrate, he sprawls. I miss the leg. But because I'm in good position, my knees underneath my chest, all I do is peek out. I raise this arm up and I take this elbow right towards his head. And I reach. Come inside, change across. Now, once again, okay? Right here. Notice the peek out. Peeking it out. As I feel I miss that leg, going right out to the opposite side. Okay? Rotate that head underneath. Bring your trail leg up, stepping up with your trail leg. Okay? So again, here, right here, I miss it, step. I've already brought that leg up, step and rotate the head, come right into it. If I can go around him, I'll go around him. If I need to drive through him, I'll drive right through him. We penetrate, scoring our point. So, we've gone to a shot, we peeked out. Okay? Now, I've talked about a little bit about setups. And the reason we covered all this technique first, now when we go into setups and you go to the room to work this stuff, you'll understand what you're trying to get to, okay? Setups, there's a few good setups with the low single leg. The low single leg, a lot of it's anticipating your opponent's movement. You're using fakes, you're using snap downs, you're using different things, but the important thing is you take the shot when you feel like he's distributed the weight on this lead leg or the leg that you want to penetrate to. One of my favorite setups working a low single leg here is when he's down over the top. I like to just rake the face. I use my hand. Remember when I discussed that this shot is, I should be able to reach out, extend my arm down, break down, and this is the distance when I'm taking this shot. So all I'm going to do from this position is rake his face. I'm going to be physical with it and rake his head. As I rake it, I'm penetrating right here. Okay? Okay. I'm just getting him to just be disturbed by my hand in his face. Okay? So we call raking the head or raking the face right here. Raking it. Penetrating. Going to whatever finish we want to go to. Faking. Guys that like to fake or get a reaction out of it. All I'm looking for him to do is to pick up his foot and put it back down. Right here. Faking here. And notice when I fake, it's hard to do when you're drilling it. But when I fake, he picks his foot up and he brings it back. When he brings it back, I strike it. Okay? Right here. Okay? Just getting that little reaction and getting that timing when he's bringing that foot back. And remember, A lot of it's anticipation. I've seen a lot of different setups. And you may have a few that you really like, or there's some particular setups that you enjoy working. And maybe not ones I'm showing. There's a lot of setups to this, so keep in mind, whatever effective of getting to that leg is good with me, and it should be good with you. So, again, we have the raking and the faking. And we talked about the misdirection, wrist control in this position. A lot of times, bringing the wrist to me. All I do is pull it. As I pull the wrist and he pulls back, okay, I follow it through with my low shot. Okay? So again, I come out, I pull. Sometimes I go 2-on-1. He pulls back. Okay? In this position, I penetrate. Keep your legs back. So again, right here. Again, right here. Hitting. So you see the reaction. He pulls back. And what happens when he pulls back, he grabs my wrist. What happens is I put all my weight on that foot. Okay? And that's what, he can't pick it up when I penetrate. Okay? So, raking, the face, you have the fake, penetrate. You have the fake misdirection, which we covered before. Pulling the wrist. You can also go to the head. If you're in tight, and this is a position that's kind of new, good setups for guys that are working low single legs now, it's when they're in tight, hand fighting here. A lot of guys that come off the head, and when they come off the head to pull it down, they'll back out. And remember, I said, don't ever penetrate on low single leg or try low single leg when you're in tight. This is not where we hit it from. So from when I'm in tight, from maybe an inside control on the head, I'm just going to pull. And as I pull down, I'm going to back out. Here. Penetrate. So again, square stance. Okay, I'm here. As I pull down, I'm creating some distance. Okay, if he posts here, all I'm going to do is pop it with my elbow. Penetrate. Okay, in here. Penetrate. So I'm working from a tight position, moving the body, hitting a low single leg. Okay? And I can't reinforce the fact that on a low single leg, a lot of that setup and a lot of that penetration is anticipating. Drilling it enough to where you know he's going to react to certain things. Another setup, as it used to be, and I haven't seen a lot lately, and I think it's because people haven't learned it, is when you fake, sometimes this guy sprawls. And if you're aware of it, he steps a lot of times right back up into you, right into the shot. So what I'm going to do is when I fake a shot, I might go down to my knees and really try to get him to react. Who do I do this against? Maybe a short, stocky guy that just stays in a real square position. I want to take him out of that position. And sometimes they may not be strong enough to move him. I'm going to make him move. Because he's thinking, I've got a low single leg. He's thinking, I've got to react. I'm going to sprawl when I shoot. So he's in a real stocky, square stance here. So what I do is I penetrate to my hands. Remember one of our drills, our pull drill, where we reach out with our hands? I'm doing the same thing here, but I'm stopping myself short, getting a reaction at him, and then double pumping, penetrating to the leg. So just getting a reaction out of him here, he comes back up in this position, penetrating to the knee. Okay? So it's kind of a double pump. Now, sometimes they'll take that leg back, and they'll step right back up in front of you. So when I'm here and I fake, he pulls that leg back. Go ahead and go to the mat. Pulls that leg back. I start to come back up, and he brings it right back up. And I penetrate. So again, it's a lot easier for me to do this in real competition. This is stuff that's real hard to drill, that you really have to have a good partner. And he's been a great partner. But sometimes it's stuff that you really have to anticipate. You know it's coming. You know what he's going to do. So this is kind of the pull fake. You're reaching out, actually posting both hands, getting that reaction, and double faking to the other leg. Same way with the misdirection. Our setup is that too. I'm coming here, hit, coming across. So it's real similar, but on this one, we're having him going ahead and sprawling. He's reacting to my shot right here. Coming up, back in. Okay? If he hits his legs real quick, sprawls real quick and pops back up, then we double pump to finish it up with another shot. Okay? Okay, right here. Now, Another one that you may think of, and you end up in a little bit of a different position, but the nice thing, if you're starting to get known as a guy that hits a good low single leg, guys tend to overreact a little bit. And that's when you really have it. If you go out and guys are aware that, hey, you have a good low single leg, you tend to get a much more of a reaction because they're nervous about it. So sometimes it's a little easier to get that reaction. So you can do a lot of things with front headlocks and things like that if you're just aware of it. So keep in mind, use your low single leg to go off into different positions. For me, it would have been a front headlock. Faking here, same type of position. Faking here, he sprawls back, you're coming over the top. Okay? So sprawl when I take my shot and end up in a front headlock. So you can use this for a lot of things, you know. So know that we can work this off a lot of positions. Now, everything that we've covered on this video, keep in mind, it's not necessarily the low single leg that you get into some of these positions. You can get into some of these positions from a high crotch, guy putting your head back to the middle, from an outside single, moving him, hitting outside, the guy driving you down off of a sprawl. So a lot of the scramble positions, a lot of the finishes, you can get into them from a lot of different situations. So keep in mind, it's not just the low single leg, it's positions that you need to know. After watching and helping a lot of people develop a low single leg, I've really seen the mistakes that occur. And I know pretty much the mistakes, a lot of them are the same ones with each individual. So as a coach out there or as a wrestler, I'm going to help you right now. Probably the mistakes you're making are probably going to be one or two or three are the ones that I'm going to cover right here quickly. Okay? The first mistake is obviously the one that we don't shoot to the leg. And keep in mind, when I said when we shoot to this leg, I mean shoot to the leg. A lot of times when the guy's in his stance here, what we do on a low single leg is when we take our penetration to the leg, we penetrate straight to the leg here, okay, in this position. Notice that my knee is directly in front of his toe here, okay, as close as I can get to it. Not the knee, but just as far as have a straight line, it's pretty close. Maybe just on the inside of his foot. Here's where sometimes the mistake's made when we take this shot. Guys shoot a good shot, but they get their arm outside their body. So here's what I'm talking about. We penetrate, but we shoot to the middle. And if you notice my right hand, okay, my right arm is to the outside of my body, okay, in this position right here. And we get out here. You have no power here once we shoot. Good shot, but we're not to the knee. My head needs to be real close to this knee in this position, okay. And if we get here, all he does is takes his knee down, okay, and collapses it right over the top of our shoulder. Okay, right here, pulls the foot just over the top of my shoulder. No, just right there. There you go. Okay, a lot of times we can't hold it there. Okay, so we get extended out. Second thing is that a lot of times when we penetrate on this shot, we'll end up hitting the knee here, and we'll end up throwing our head and chest forward here. Keep in mind, on all those drills, what those drills do for us? It makes sure that we keep our hips underneath and our hips follow through. We never, ever want our head and chest to get extended over the top of our hips. We're in terrible positioning. Don't even hit a low single leg until you learn that. Making sure that we do not hit our knee here in this position. We do not hit our knee and then dart our head and chest forward here and get our body extended away from our opponent. Okay? And then one of the biggest mistakes made, heads down. Heads down, you're always going to have to finish out the back if you get to the leg. Keep in mind, our ideal position when we get to the leg is the dumping. That's what I want to go to. If I can do it every time, that's what I want to go to. And a lot of times we'll shoot with our head down, and that is probably one of the biggest mistakes made on all shots. So the three things that you need to be concerned with is, remember, to try to avoid making mistakes is, one, when we shoot to the leg, make sure that we keep our arm in tight with our body. We don't get it extended out away from our body, because we can't have any power when that happens. Okay, and that means we're shooting to the middle of his body. Shoot to the leg. Okay. The second one, making sure that when we penetrate, we move our hips underneath. Don't hit your knee and let your head and chest dart forward. Okay. Make sure that our hips follow through. Make sure our knees and chest slide right up underneath our hips, and make sure that our head and chest stay back behind our hips. And number three, obviously, sometimes the biggest mistake made in wrestling is we shoot with our head down. And a lot of times when we shoot with our head down, that's the reason why we shoot our head and chest forward. So Concentrate on those 3 areas. Don't make those mistakes. Keep in mind now, at the beginning of the tape, I said one of the reasons why you need to know a low single leg is you may never hit one. Some people may not hit it, but you need to learn how to defend it. If you understand the low single leg, it makes it a little easier. You're going to wrestle someone that hits good low single legs, and you're going to need to learn how to defend it. So I'm going to show you 3 ways that's going to help you to defend a low single leg. Not every way works, but I know that sometimes they do work. And the thing about it is a good low single leg sometimes is difficult, but try to keep him out in front of you. On the first one, when he gets to the leg, he penetrates to the leg right here. What I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to take my knee right over the top of the head here, okay, in this position. Sometimes I push his head down and take my knee right over the top of his head, okay. Now from right here, all I'm going to do is raise my heel up as I go and fetch his ankle, okay, his ankle or his knee right here, okay. And I fall right over the top and score. So again, he gets in on my leg right here in this position. I'm going to turn my knee in, but if I turn it and go below, okay, that doesn't do me any good, okay. From here, I'm going to push the knee head down, come right over the top of the head. Keep your hand on my ankle, okay, right here. Now I raise my ankle up and I slide my hip over the top. Okay, so all I'm doing to him from here is in this position, I push his head down and I'm hyperextending his shoulder here. Okay, pull your knee back underneath you. Once again, he penetrates right here. Push. Knee goes over the top, right here. Slide my hip to the far side. Bring my heel up. Scoring my points. Okay. Second one. This has been a very good one for a lot of people, but you got to be quick when you do it. Guy shoots a little single leg right here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to fall to this side. As I fall to this side, I'm going to catch my foot up in his armpit right here, and I kick. I don't try to nail him. I just kick him off. Okay, hit it quick. Okay. So once again, he penetrates here. I fall, plant both hands, kick. Okay, and the last one, he's going to penetrate. You got to be quick at this. And the reason I know this is because I was wrestling in 1990 overseas in France. Now, I'm wrestling a pretty good wrestler, and I hit a low single leg, and he hit this on me, and I'll never forget it. I went on and did what I needed to do in the match, but he got me with this defense that surprised me. So. And ever since then, I've taught it and I've learned it. Guy takes a shot, all I'm going to do is Heisman Trophy. I'm going to turn my hip, and I'm going to do a reverse jump. Okay, guys that really like to shoot low with those ankles, we're just going to do it quick and explode through it. Oh, score 2. Okay, so don't spend all your time working this one. I know a lot of you are going to like this one, but this one's it's not too difficult. It's pretty easy, actually. Again, I'm just turning my hips. As he's shooting to this ankle, I turn my hips. And as I turn them, okay, I'm taking this leg back. This leg comes up and over. So I'm making him shoot right through my legs. Okay? So once again. Oh, score. Okay, again. 2-point paydown. Okay? Good luck. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that there's several of you coaches as well as wrestlers that can use a lot of this. I know there's a new generation that's going to be coming out being very dominant with the low single leg, and I hope that I could help you today. Video and watching video is extremely important for your career to be a better coach as well as to be a better athlete. Take advantage of the videos that are out there. For me, that low single leg meant a great deal in my career, and I know for a lot of you, it's going to be a great deal for you. So good luck to you. Remember, winning is the only option.